You were quoted in that article saying of QAnon followers, they rode the shift in the national conversation away from Trump to what was happening with the massive ramp up in vaccines, allowing them to pivot away from the failure of their previous prophecy to focus on something else. So what made coronavirus vaccines a logical new target?
Well, there are a couple of reasons why it became an important target for far-rightists. The first is that they'd already built up a huge base of support around the issue. At the Institute, we tracked around 1,100 different groups on Facebook alone that had over 3.2 million members. Those groups were dedicated to things like anti-masker propaganda, coronavirus conspiracies, and a whole litany of different things designed to keep the disinformation cycle flowing around COVID-19. So when they failed at being able to overturn the election, it was an obvious place for them to return to.
So as you noted, your institute has been tracking the rise of right-wing extremists peddling disinformation on coronavirus. You have found that there are roughly 3 million members in this movement, but they aren't all your typical anti-vax conspiracy theorists. How diverse is this coalition, and what are the different messages that are resonating within it?
It's an incredibly diverse coalition. It's one of the most diverse we've seen in quite some time. For one thing, this movement right now has attracted a lot more women to it than it has before. It breaks down pretty much all the stereotypes we have about those involved in far-right activity. They're more likely to be employed, they're more likely to be of upper income, they're more likely to be women, and they're more likely to have a higher degree of education. So those are big changes that we're paying really close attention to. And as a result of that, the kind of plethora of propaganda that they've used has also changed as well. Now they're using all kinds of different messages to reach different crowds. So it's everything from anti-vaxxer messages targeted at moms and yoga influencers to conspiracies around COVID-19 vaccine being the mark of the beast, to COVID-19 being a tool for a one world government to use to try and take over the planet. Those are oftentimes combined with anti-Semitic conspiracy theories to, kind of further rile up this base. And as a result, we've seen many of these groups now not only engage just, typical anti-vaxxers, but also bring in armed militia types and other far-right paramilitaries to create a really toxic mix to make it harder for those on the front lines trying to get out the vaccine. And actually, in some cases, even threatening the lives of doctors and public health officials who are doing their jobs and trying to fight the pandemic.